Hello, it is Christine Hendricks with Sandra Sutton. Thank you, Sandra, for joining me today on Off the Cuff.
No, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. All right. So I have so much going on that I want to actually ask you.
Okay.
And you do have a book, and it's Girl Made Worthy. And a little
Yeah.
bit higher, up higher, up higher.
Oh,
Oh,
can you
there
see
we
me?
go. There we go. That's better. Um, Yeah, so I'm interested to know about this book you wrote,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
So you wrote this, and I'm like, it's actually one, it piques my interest. I'm like, okay, I was just reading before we came live. I told you, I was like, oh, I was just checking out what your book was all about.
Uh-huh.
And, and I know, like, Girl Made Worthy. So what I read was really interesting. So without me telling it, I'll let you tell it because you're
Okay.
going to tell it
Okay.
better.
Well, again, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be on your platform and to, of course, share about Girl Made Worthy. And Girl Made Worthy is a combination of journaling, speaking, and writing. And Girl Made Worthy is a movement. It's not just a book, it's a movement all about finding worthiness. It's about embracing and falling in love with the journey. We all have a story. We all have, and you and I, we hear about that all the time in our Hungry to Speak class. We all have a story and we all have a journey. And it's all about embracing and falling in love with the journey. And many times we rush to get to the destination and miss the greater lessons, and that's what Girl Made Worthy is all about. It's all about loving who you are, finding worthiness, and learning to really enjoy the journey. Because in my journey, I went through at one point a really tough time in my life, one that I would consider rock bottom. And for me, I lost something deep within that I desperately needed to find. And I ended up leaving my hometown, my business that I had grown from the ground up, my family, and kind of like everything I knew, on a search for two things that I was missing. One was me, and the other thing was my purpose. So on that journey, I started voice journaling and writing as a part of my healing process, not knowing that 3 years later I would be an author and motivational speaker and self-worth advocate. I'm sorry, self-care, self-worth advocate. So yeah, I also did a series of other things in that journey, because not only did I find my way back to me, but I also found my purpose, my voice, my peace, and my joy. And that is the story that I'm sharing through the Girl Made Worthy
Oh,
book.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really great. So was there like an aha moment, or was it a bunch of stepping stones that brought you to this realization? Like, how did you know? I got a lot of questions, like I
No, go
said.
ahead, go
So
ahead.
how did you know, like, at what point? Because I can pinpoint the exact moment I realized I didn't value myself
Mhm.
and I had this breakdown. So tell me a little bit about that. Let's go there.
For me, it wasn't anything like traumatic, right? It was more of um after the experience that I had gone through, it was like maybe 2 years later, it was just something that did not settle right within me, right? So it kept nudging me, but I really didn't know what it was, and I kept kind of like throwing it off. And then I just got to a space where it's like something has to be done about this feeling, because it was very uncomfortable. And so it was almost just a feeling that made me realize that there's more, and that's what the search was. I knew that somewhere along the line I lost who Sandra was. I really didn't value who Sandra was, and I needed that space to find me. So I went on that journey to do that.
So, if you don't mind, I'm just going to share what I discovered for myself. I
Uh-huh.
was 50 or in around 50,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't realize I wasn't valuing myself. And I was
Mm.
doing this trying to get unstuck. I think it was in a marketing kind of thing.
Mhm.
And to go on and do live videos. And all of a sudden, I started crying. And I was like, it was that moment I realized how much I undervalued myself because, I didn't like, it was just one of those things, like you said, you were putting it off and you were pushing it aside. I didn't even realize I was doing it, and I was doing it for years.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden in that moment, I realized I had this value and I could bring value to people
Mm-hmm.
with because I was working on marketing and how I was going to market my
Right.
value. That's actually
Right.
what came out.
Right.
And I was like mind blown.
Yeah.
So it's interesting
Yeah.
where you kind of recognized it and were able
Mm-hmm.
to work on it where
Yeah.
I didn't even recognize it.
Wow.
So
Yeah. But it was definitely over time. Like, I'm like, what is this feeling that I keep getting? And the beauty of it, just like you said, is once you recognize it, you do something about it, you become worthy within yourself, and knowing that your worth is within you, it's not, outside of you. Then you can take that and then you can start to share that with other people and share your story and show, help them to find their worth. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, it's there, and you don't have to look outside of yourself to find it. It's right there within you. And that's how, our stories become even more powerful, because we've walked through the journey. We've walked through it. We've recognized it. We're aware of it. And now we can share it.
absolutely. And when the thing was, I was actually searching because I felt stuck and I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't move forward and I didn't know why. And it was that disconnect between my brain and what it
Mm-hmm.
was telling me and
Yeah.
the action I wanted to take.
Yeah.
So my brain was saying, you're not, like I had that in my head, I wasn't worthy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I couldn't take the action to do what I needed to do. And I started looking, for a few years, I was looking for like, why can't I move forward? I know what to do. I know how to do it. Why can't I move
Like you
forward?
stuck. Yeah.
Yeah, I was stuck, and that's why I did this Unstuck program. And
Mm-hmm.
and all of a sudden, when I'm doing that, that's when I realized, like I said, like I didn't have value on myself, and I just started crying because I realized I do
Yeah.
have value.
You do.
So,
Yeah.
so I asked you a question just before we started.
Mm-hmm.
You were telling me that there is worksheets in the book. Tell me a little bit about that, because I'm thinking these worksheets are probably going to be very helpful to somebody out there, somebody watching maybe.
Absolutely. So within the book, for each chapter, because we talk about forgiveness, we talk about finding your worth, knowing who you are. We talk about so many other self-care and setting boundaries. And we have reflection questions at the end of each chapter. Because a lot of times when we read, sometimes we just read through the book, but we don't take time to reflect on our own selves, right? And like I always say within the book, this is my blueprint. This was my journey. Now find yourself within that. You know what I'm saying? We can all find ourselves somewhere within the journey, and take that moment to reflect on that and say, you know what? I may need to work on this, or I'm doing good at this, so those reflection questions really help you to really dive into your own personal self and really find out, you know what, am I valuing myself enough? Do I love myself the way that I should be loving myself? And I know for me, I just recently had an experience where I had to go back and read my own book, because I had to make sure, when you're approached with a situation, I had to ask myself, do I really stand on what I believe and what I speak and I share with other people? Because if I do, I got to fix what I'm currently doing. You know what I'm saying? Because it has to match up. And I realized I passed the test that I knew was a test for me, especially when it comes to your self-worth and loving yourself and respecting yourself and knowing who you are. And so it still works for me. I mean, I went through it and I'm still going back to read it even now, so we actually have a workbook coming out with the book that will be out in the coming months. So I'm excited about that. And that will allow people to dive even deeper. We have like 1 or 2 reflection questions right now at the end of each chapter, but the workbook will really, really give you a lot of the tools that will help you throughout your healing and forgiveness journey.
Sandra says she didn't see her value for many years.
Me neither. And I will say to that, Sandra, oh, what a beautiful name, by the way. I have to define what my value was, because I used to look at my value and match them. When we think of worth, we're thinking about cars, we think about houses, we're thinking about money in the bank, we're thinking about, our value in dollars and cents, right? Until something comes and you realize that none of the houses, none of the cars, none of the money in the bank will heal whatever that thing is that's within your heart, right? So what I had to realize is that If everything was taken away from me, who am I and what is my value to the world? And it's not based on my house. It's not my job. It's not how much money I make. It's not in who my family is, my social economic status. It's none of that. It's really what I believe within myself. And that's how I was able to really determine and know that I am worthy, I am enough when I started to believe it. And it's when we start to believe that we are enough, even without all of those things. Those are nice things to have. We know that, right? But even without those things, knowing that you're enough, knowing that you're worthy of great things, you're worthy of joy, peace, happiness, love, all of those things, when you know that and you own that and you expect that, then that's when really you know your worth.
One of the things too that I did was um, I did things for my kids. So I left a bad situation, a bad relationship
Mm.
for my kids. It didn't matter. Like, not that it didn't matter, but I didn't have that value on myself
Mhm.
enough to say I needed to leave for myself.
Right.
But when I started to think about how it was affecting my kids
Mhm.
and how it would affect them as they grew, I didn't want that for my kids, and I
Absolutely.
still didn't put the value on myself because I was putting the value on my children, and I
Mhm.
left. So is there something in your book that would address that? Somebody that thinks that way, they're just not, you know, they don't even think of, like I said, I wasn't even thinking my value. I didn't think about my value until I was 50, and I'm like,
Yeah.
why is this?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was almost 40. So, again, a lot of times we put other people, and I talk about that, we put other people before ourselves. And I think when we look at the grand scheme of things, it sounds like the perfect thing to do, to put your children first and but you have to, one thing that I learned, because I'm big on family, and I still am, like, but a lot of times we put others before we put ourselves. But one thing that I have learned is that we can't pour from an empty cup, and we can't give what we don't have. So we have to pour into ourselves and really value ourselves before we can really put value into someone else, true value into someone else. And I do address that in the book as well.
Oh, awesome.
Yep. Yep.
So now you've written your book,
Uh-huh.
and have you done speaking before? Or you're just entering a new speaking career as well? Like, tell me about that.
So one of the blessed things that I love, when we grew up as little kids, like in our church, they always had us standing before the congregation, right? And reciting scriptures. And then my family, we sang together, we did stage plays together, we traveled the world together. So, and then I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm always, talking to different businesses, or, not really considering it public speaking per se or motivational speaking, but I'm now kind of focusing on building that public speaking career and sharing, because I feel like I have purpose. So it's like it's a different type of feeling now.
Well,
So
yeah,
yeah,
you
it's
have a message.
a message. Absolutely, it's a different type of message, and I enjoyed it then, and that kind of prepared me for what I'm walking into now. So that is what I'm focused towards, is in building that career in public speaking, motivational speaking, inspirational speaking, however you want to call it. Really, just to encourage others that it's possible. Healing is possible. Forgiveness is possible. Know your worth. And add tax, as they say. So that's my journey that I'm working towards. And the book was a big platform for that, where I'm getting asked to be on podcasts and to be a part of different platforms like yours, which I'm appreciative of. So yeah, absolutely.
And as Les Brown says, it's within you.
It's within you. Yeah, it's
So I
definitely within
love that. I love your message. I
you.
love that you're putting out there, for women. I'm assuming men too, but it's more. I think it's a huge thing for women
Yeah.
that they don't see their value, and you know, I'm so happy to see that that book, because it is different. I don't see a lot of that. So
Yeah.
I'm really glad to be seeing that out there.
Thank you.
Can't wait to get my hands on that book. We were talking about that. I'm like, I'm gonna grab that book.
Awesome.
I need to read that book. I'm sure if
Yeah,
everybody grabbed that book, there's one person, I bet you everybody grabbed that book, there's at least one person watching this is going to help. And if everybody grabbed that book, they know one person that needs to read that book.
absolutely.
Sure of it.
Absolutely. And you talk about gentlemen. When I first wrote it, of course, I wrote it from my perspective, and I'm a woman, right? So I'm automatically thinking this is for women, of course, right? But what I learned, I had men buying my book because we all need hope. It's all about, like, we all need a sense of hope, right? And I've had gentlemen to inbox me and text me and say, thank you for this book. And that has done my heart so much, it's just touched my heart tremendously, because they are finding themselves in the book. They're finding themselves and they're reflecting on themselves and doing the necessary to find that worthiness. And so it's for men, it's for women, anybody that needs hope, that's looking to transform their own lives. And like I said, it's a blueprint. It was my blueprint, and you can take what you need from it, pull from it, and start your journey.
Oh, that's incredible. That's
Yeah.
really incredible.
Yeah.
So and I would have not thought that, and you're reaching more people. People are hurting, and
They really are.
This is a necessary book.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for people to get it in their hands, and I can't wait to see where you're gonna go in the future. Maybe there'll be a rewrite of the book. Just like a general men and women, maybe. We got possibilities here.
It's possible, right? It's possible. Yeah. Yeah.
So is there anything else that you're doing that maybe we'd find interesting? I don't know. There's usually something.
What am I doing? Well, I'm a full-time event and project manager, so that's what I do full-time. And of course, that's my life. I love planning events, all types of events. So I mainly focus on corporate events. So that's what I do on my daily, while I'm also out motivating. But again, my focus now is to really build my public speaking and motivational speaking career. So.
Do you think you'll transition from one to the other and become a full-time speaker and kind of leave that in the past life, or just plan your own events?
Listen, I definitely believe that it will transition over to me planning my own events, my own events. So I would love to be invited to other events, but being that I have that background and expertise, it can't go to waste, right? So I may have you on one of my speaking stages one day, so yeah. Or I'll be in Canada. You can bring me to Canada. I'll come to Canada.
Well, it's funny because as soon as you said that, I was like, for years, I've been wanting to plan an event in Ottawa, but I'm like, I have no idea what to do. And it's a lot of work. And like, I just, I have that self-doubt that I would be able to pull it all off.
Right.
And, it's not something I like. It's a job, right? And it's not something I've done before.
Right.
So now I know who to connect with.
You can call me and I'll be there. I will be there. Yeah.
So let me see here. I've got some. Actually, I want to put up your link, although it is in the description before I forget.
Okay.
This is the link for Sandra's book, Girl Made Worthy, and it is girlmadeworthy.kartra.com/page/JGVS, although the link is in the description, so they can just click that.
We're going to shorten that up as well. I'm working on getting that shortened, but you can click on it for now.
But it is in the description, like I said. And let's see. Let's do some fun stuff here. Let me see here. What is your favorite quote and who said it?
Oh my favorite quote. I believe that Maya Angelou said this quote, and I know this has nothing to do with I don't know if self
That's
worth.
okay.
It does. It does.
We're having fun now.
We're having fun. Okay.
Yeah.
I believe is that when someone show you who they are, believe them. And I think that's one of my favorite quotes. And that's by Maya Angelou.
Okay, so now I'm curious why that's your favorite quote.
You know what? I don't even know if that's like a favorite, but that's the one that has been sticking out for the last couple of days, right? Like that's the one that's been sticking out for the last couple of days.
Okay. So what is something fun you like to do?
I actually like to skate, and I'm not a great skater.
So you're in Virginia.
I'm in Northern Virginia, yes.
I guess you have arenas. I'm like, where would you skate?
Like the skating ring, like just they have like skating arenas,
Yeah.
and you can go and skate, roller skate. Yeah.
Because in Canada we skate on back ponds and stuff. The Rideau Canal in Ottawa, I'm thinking outside. Where are they going to skate in Virginia?
I need a skating ring because I need the rails to hold on to.
That's funny geography, how people think, right? I'm like,
Yep.
There's no way. So wait, there's arenas.
Yep.
If you had one wish, what would it be?
Sincerely, for everyone to know their worth.
Oh, that's a good wish.
Yeah.
That's a good wish.
And I find it so late in life.
That is actually a really good wish, because I wish that it hadn't have taken me so long to figure that out. And like my husband told me, we've been together close to 30 years, and from the time we met, he said I was special, and all these years, he always say these things to me, and I, in the back of my head, I'm like, he'd say it, I'm like, okay. And he knew I didn't believe him. And then after a while, like he just always said it. And he's like, why don't you believe me when I tell you that? It took a long time. Like I said, I was 50.
Yeah.
And I'm like, even I thought, like, this guy's got rose-colored glasses. Like, what is going on with him? He saw it. I didn't.
Yeah.
So.
And you know what? I said this to my mentor maybe a couple of months ago, because sometimes we have to borrow someone else's eyes until our eyes are able to catch up to see what they see. And the fact that he kept speaking it into your life until you started to believe it for yourself. You need those type of people in your life. And that was the same thing for me. I needed to borrow somebody else's lenses, somebody that was willing to encourage me and uplift me until I saw it within me. Because it really, what's the saying? Unless you believe it, it's not really going to do the work. But as long as you have people around you, your circle matters. Who you allow around you matters. So as long as you have those people uplifting you, eventually you will get there. And the good thing is, we're there.
30 years to catch up.
Okay. It's okay. It's okay. But the beauty of it is you're at the place where you can tell others it's possible.
That's right. Well, I've really enjoyed having you on here.
Here.
Let me see here. Oh, let's see. We have Angela Smith says she's very proud of you.
Thank you, Angela.
I thought I better check these messages before we jump off.
Yeah.
And that was very nice. Thank you, Angela, for sharing.
Thank you, Angela. Are there any questions from the audience? I don't know if you do Q&A.
Yeah, they can. If they put it in, I can show whatever if they have any questions. And Sandra also said you're right. She needs to read your book too.
I would love for you to.
All right. So is there a final something you would like to add that we haven't covered? Do you have any courses? Are you working on a challenge? What are you up to?
I am actually working on a book club. So the Girl May Wear the book is actually going to turn into a book club. The book club will start in July the 5th, and I'll be putting out information about it on June 1st. So, and your access is purchasing the book, but because of course we want people to read the book so we can actually have discussion, and they'll be able to purchase the full workbook, a digital workbook along with the book, so we can every week, it'll be a 5-week book club, so you'll be able to ask questions. We can get into more details about the chapter, more details about my story, because as there's I could have wrote 400 pages, right? But my attention span is not that long, so that's why I didn't write a 400-page book. But within the book club, it's just an opportunity. It'll be a safe community where we can come together and just really have real raw discussion, because I realize that people do need hope. People are hurting. I know, because I was once that hurting person, and people need to know that it is possible, that healing is possible, forgiveness is possible. Whatever you're experiencing, going through, you can get through it. There is life at the end of the tunnel. But most of all, someone needs your story. Someone needs you, and you are someone's breakthrough. And so, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm so glad that you're on sharing, because this is why I do this, because I started out a couple of years ago doing Facebook Lives.
Mhm.
And it was funny because I told Sandra McDonald that I needed to do these Facebook Lives, and I didn't know why.
Yeah.
And where they took me was to this place of putting my value out to others to share, so they could, take whatever value I was giving them and help them. So then, and then I'm in this other group with Les Brown and everybody there, and I'm like, I need to bring them over here. Like, they have value.
Yeah.
They need to share whatever it is they need to, their messages. Your messages are important, and they
Absolutely.
need to get out there. So
Yeah.
I really love bringing people like you on here and
Yeah.
having you here yourself. Like, I feel blessed. It's funny, I started doing this and I feel so, like, everybody's like, oh, thank you, Christine. And I'm like, I'm the one that I feel like, thank you.
Oh,
I feel so blessed that you come here and do this as well. So
yeah.
it's a serving platform.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm so appreciative of this opportunity. And I'll say this as well. When you begin to share your story, and you're providing platforms for people to do that. So you are building a stage for other people, and you're being a blessing to other people. And that is absolutely amazing and commendable. And you should definitely feel so amazing about yourself. And what I was also going to say was, when you start to really share and become shameless about your story, the windows of opportunity begin to open up. I'll tell you, a year ago, I created my vision board for my life, right? And I will show it to you. It's in the bathroom, but I'll have to get up, so I want to leave the conversation. But a year ago, I created a vision board, and I was on a stage, and I had myself, it was Les Brown, and it was Lisa Nichols. Not a year later did I, or could I have ever imagined that I will be sitting on a stage with Les Brown, that I will be mentored by. I just had an idea. I just had a vision. I had a dream. And it's like everything when I started to believe in myself, when I started to value myself, because you start attracting value when you value yourself, it starts to gravitate to you. And then you're wondering, how in the world did this happen? It's because you decided that you were valuable, and you decided that I'm not going to accept anything less, and you began to affirm things over your life. And that's something else that I want to share with the people that are listening, is that began to affirm whatever it is that you desire over your life. As we hear all the time, Christine, it's possible. It's possible. If I really show you my vision board, it literally scares me every time I look at it, because all of the value that I began to put on myself is now being attached to me. And that's what I say to you. I say to anybody that's listening, love on yourself, value yourself, know your worth, know who you are, appreciate who you are. Don't allow anybody to take anything away from you that you're not freely willing to give. And your value is non-negotiable. So that's, you should never want to give that away. So thank you, Christian. I love it. I love you. I'm so appreciative. I don't know what to say.
I want to tie something actually in. This is a very nice, neat tie over. So my message has to do with what we think and tell ourselves. Basically gives us our results and our actions.
Absolutely.
And that just tied nice and neat right in with what you said. So yeah, I really like the way you put that, and I want people to know too. Like you have to, and this is the thing, you're saying it, and that's the level, that's the highest level with the affirmations and the vision board. That's the highest level of what we call self-talk. And we have all these different self-talks that, you know, the lowest level is all that negative stuff, and what you're doing is actually and putting in that highest level of self-talk and telling yourself that's what the vision board was, and you know, all these things like I know, I can, I can't, that's it's beautiful. It ties right into what my message is for people is like, you know, you need to watch your words. Absolutely. And what you put in is what you're going to get out. So absolutely. You put in
manifest our own life and don't even realize it. Like we really manifest our own life. I remember when I used to talk very negative and negative things would happen. And I'm like, oh, we need to change this talk, you know? So, and even when you do order the book, you get, you're able to download free affirmation cards, and you get affirmation cards with your book that are, you know, printed out cardstock that you can place in your bathroom, in your office, in your car. So anytime you need to pick me up, I advise that you say them every day, 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, and before you go to bed. So it sticks. So yeah, so that's another thing I forgot to tell you, Christian, that you do receive affirmations when you order from my website.
Oh, sweet. That is awesome, because I was just talking to Sandra about doing a challenge on that self-talk, you know, and changing it. So I'm working on that. It's going to get done.
Yes.
But I love that. I can't wait to get your book.
Thank you so much. And thank you in advance. I appreciate it.
I didn't see any questions, but you know, Michael looks like he's pretty proud of you, and he says, "Go San."
Thank you, brother. That's my brother.
Oh, nice. one more cheerleader for you.
Yeah, I have a whole I have 8 brothers and 2 sisters. So I have a whole squad of cheerleaders. And one of my best friends, she's up here too, Guana. She's another one of my cheerleaders. Hey, Guana.
Nice. Oh, you're seeing her on your side, but I don't see
on my side. Yeah.
All right. I don't know if you can see the comments over from yours, but
I can't see all of them, but I can kind of see who's watching.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, wow. I can see who's watching.
All right. Well, thank you to our viewers, and thank you for being here. If you liked what you heard today, please share. You know, I've got this up on YouTube. If you happen to be on YouTube, you know, hit that red button, subscribe, share, like, whatever. And Sandra's on Facebook as well. So, you know, go over there and follow Sandra, see what she's up to. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. And
thank you.
Bye-bye. Have a great, whatever it is, wherever you are.
A great evening.